there, this is Jennifer. Welcome to Crafting in Carrollville. These are just some of the materials we're going to use in today's projects. I do have one great spring, we'll call it a thrift flip because a lot of the things I got from the thrift store, some of them I didn't. And then I'm just going to go through some things that I'm making for our upcoming show. I kind of want you all to be my beta testers, and I want you to tell me how you think they're going to go over. I want you to tell me if you would buy them if you came to one of our shows. So here we are. I am actually using these molds with clay this time. I really most of the time use resin, but I love the organic look of clay, and so that's what I'm using this time around. This is DOS air dry clay. It's my favorite clay to use. This is not the kindergarten clay that we used the last video. This is the good stuff. And I want these molds are pretty delicate as it is, but I really want them to be thin and delicate, so I'm not overfilling the molds. I'm working with this little, I think it's actually a goldfish bowl. I got it at the Dollar Tree, and I don't want it to look like a goldfish bowl. I want it to look like a cloche. I actually had some little cloches that I was going to use for this project, but they just didn't work out. They weren't the right size for what I wanted to do. Now I'm taking those clay molds and I'm going to actually make a vignette of molds around the top of my goldfish bowl, and this is all in an effort to make it not look like a goldfish bowl. So that's what I have in mind here. I'm using this mold I got from Redesigned by Prima. That's where that mold came from, that gray one on top there with the bunnies on it, and then also the garland that came from, I got it on Amazon, but Redesigned by Prima has a store on Amazon. So here I am. I'm using wood glue to attach my clay molds to my goldfish bowl, and I'm not worried about whether or not I get this placement perfect because I'm actually layering my molds, so I really just want those to be the bottom layer, and that's what you're going to see come through after I add molds to the top. Now I'm using this mold that I got. This is a fondant mold that I got from Walmart. If you're not looking at Walmart for your molds in the baking aisle, you might want to try that. They're not super cheap, I will say that. You'll see that I've added a knob to the top of my bowl there. I just use hot glue to attach it right now. I'll come back later and attach it with a more substantial glue, but I really just want it on there temporarily so I can work around it because I know I'm going to put it there permanently. This mold here, this blue mold that has the roses, I bought that from Michael's, and if you'll see, I'm not filling my mold up all the way. Those roses are really thick, and so I'm really just filling them up about halfway because I want my molds to be thinner and more delicate. I'm just making a design on the top of this bowl that pleases me. I'm not overthinking it. I'm just placing things where I want them. What looks good to me. You're going to notice that I don't usually have a plan when I come out in my workshop. I have a thought out thing, like I sort of know what I'm going to do, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, and this is definitely one of those times where I just had some materials in mind that I was going to use. I came out, I got them ready, and now here we are. I do have some wonderfully thought out projects coming up, I promise. This just isn't one of them. It's easier for me when I can just come out here and be creative. I am getting ready for a show though, so my days of experimenting and just coming out here to fool around are coming to an end because we have a show this weekend and then we also have a show next month, a 3-day show next month. You can see I've filled that bird with clay. There's a little tiny bird on there. Actually, there's 2 of them, and I so wanted to use both of them, but whoever laid this mold out didn't think very thoughtfully because the birds are facing the same way. And really, when you're doing something like design work, you always want your elements to be facing, the opposite way. But it is what it is, so we can't be too hard on them. It is from Walmart. I'm just putting this cloche on the base that I'm going to put it on, so I can make sure that I'm not covering anything inside the cloche that I need to see. Like the rabbit, I don't want to cover up his face or make him hard to see. I just want to add this decorative element to the top of my cloche. This is the base for my cloche. I got this at the bins. I think they're concrete, they're hard. They look like they were molded in a mold, and I'm just painting them with whatever paint I have on hand. I'm using this opportunity to just get rid of a bunch of stuff in my workshop. We've talked about that. I'm trying to upcycle and DIY through my stash that I have right now without adding a lot to it. I do love to go thrifting with my son, and that's a great activity that we do together. So I can't apologize for that, but I did say that we're going on a thrifting fast, and I've been really good, but I got some things at the bins that I ain't gonna apologize for going, because I got some great things, and they're gonna come up in this video. Great things for my business, and that's really, I've sort of been disciplining myself to just buy things that I know are beneficial for my actual business. So, you know, not YouTube, not just because I want it, nothing like that. Just things that I know are going to help me at shows. Anyway, this is just acrylic paint that I'm throwing on there. I just want to change the color. And now I'm adding the same paint to my molds. They're dry by now. I've let them sit overnight, and they're molded on there. They're not going anywhere. And this is just acrylic paint that I picked up at Walmart or Hobby Lobby, wherever I was. I really wish I could paint that fast. It would be a wonderful option to be able to have like a turbo speed, don't you think? Anyway, thank you all so much. You're really helping my YouTube channel grow. I've gotten so many comments, so many likes and shares, and y'all have been super great about that. We've really doubled our subscriptions over the last week. We're well over 2,000 subscribers now, which is a huge deal. We're fully monetized. I'm super excited about that. Really can't tell you how excited I'm about that. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's a great accomplishment for y'all. Y'all helped me get here, and I really appreciate that. I got these little picket fences at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to use them forever. You can see there's a lot of projects wrapped up in those. And then I'm using this Spanish moss that I harvested from the trees in my yard. I just put it in my oven to bake for about 4 hours at 200. I like to make it nice and dry and crispy, and I also obviously want to make sure there's no critters on it. There are no critters on it when it comes in, to be honest. My husband does pest control, so I'm not super afraid of infesting my house with critters from Spanish moss. I'm using hot glue to make a little bed for the bunny there of Spanish moss, but I want it to stick. I don't want it to flop all around, so I'm using hot glue to stick it down to my platform there, and then I'm going to use hot glue to put the bunny down in his little bed of Spanish moss. And you'll see I just keep putting that cloche back on there to make sure that I'm fitting everything into the area that will be enclosed. I'm taking those little pickets and I'm adding some antique wax to them. I don't want them to be stark white like they were. I want them to look old and aged and like they've been living in a garden. So, we're realists here at Crafting in Carrollville. We like our artwork to be realistic, like we don't do the abstract stuff. So, anyway, I laugh at myself because, this isn't necessarily artwork. This is crafting. There's a bit of a difference, but I do love me some good crafting. I could do this. I do this all day, but I want to do it like 24/7. But I have to sleep sometimes too. I'm just using hot glue to stick those pickets in my bed of Spanish moss there. That's gonna stick it just fine. It's not going anywhere. Well, I skipped some steps there, but I added some flowers and I added a carrot. I think I showed you in my opening frames there, those materials. I had those in my stash. The carrot was a little too bright orange for me, so I did tone it down with some wax. I also pulled out the green stems that were in there. I didn't like them, so I replaced them with something else. I just pulled, it was almost like, it looked like little bread ties that were sticking out. They were really straight and not very realistic looking at all. And I mentioned that before. We're realists here in Crafting in Kerrville. We ain't into abstract stuff. So I added just 4 little leaves in there, and they fit right in. Now I'm waxing this little. What is this? It looks like cobblestones. I'll call it the base for my cloche is what it is, but I'm using antique wax just to get in all those crevices and make it look as cobblestoney as we can make it look. I knew as soon as I grabbed these things at the bargain barn that I was going to do a cloche with them, which is funny because I have never done a cloche before. I've never bought a cloche before. No, I take that back. I did buy one cloche in my whole life in my thrifting career, and I thrift all the time, but it was giant. It fit over my head, like I could wear it. I could be in the cloche, but I gave it away to a friend of mine. She needed a cloche that was bigger than her head, so that's the only cloche I've ever bought. I mention this a lot. I always use the same brushes when I'm waxing because that's a great way to ruin your brushes. That wax just sort of sticks in your brush, and you might never get it out, but if you use it over and over again, that's the best way to avoid ruining all your brushes. And also, I don't know how y'all clean your brushes, but I soak mine in hot water with some Dawn dishwashing soap for a while. Defined for a while, okay, until I remember that they're soaking. That's how long a while is. I'm trying to make this nice and clear for you, but that's hard for me because I can't tell if it's clear or not. So here I am. I'm using that same antique wax to get into all the details of the molds now. That's why we use the molds, because they are just ripe with all that detail. You can see my knob is loose there, and I knew that the hot glue wasn't going to hold it, but I come back in with some Fix-All and stick it back on there so that it's steady. It's going to stay now. So there that is, all finished. I made another one of those, and you're going to see those at the very end of the video. I don't show myself making the second one. Now, these bags I am super excited about. I got these at the bins. I got about 200 of them, and they were somebody's promotional material, like drug-free Manatee County up north of me, and there were hundreds of them at the bins. So I picked up as many as I wanted, and I knew that these were going to make great promotional bags for my business. I'm not going to give them away. Obviously, I'm going to sell them, but they're going to be, I think, $5 a piece, and then $2 with a $50 purchase. And so people are constantly looking for bags at shows. If you know, you know. Not everybody provides bags with purchases. We do, but these are going to be some special bags that we're actually going to sell. So I'm using this fabric. I'm going to make panels that have my artwork ironed onto them. I got this fabric at the bins. I got a huge bolt of fabric on a roll that's taller than me and super, super heavy. When they weighed it, it was going to cost $60, but of course they sold it to me for $10. But it has yards and yards of fabric on it. And what I've done is I've printed out my artwork that I'm going to use on these fabric panels. All of this is my own original artwork. If you know, you know that my whole main deal with my shows is to get my artwork on as many things as I can possibly get it on. So this is the first time I've put it on bags, even though I've had the thought to do it for a long time. I never found bags that I was willing to pay the price for. But these are, they were just such a godsend. I'm so happy I found them. I'm using heat transfer vinyl that I buy on Amazon. It's from a company called PPD, and I really love it. And when you see me pressing with the iron, it's not how hard you press, it's how It's how hot your iron is and how long you hold the heat to the transfer. So I had to put it back down there a little bit, but there you go. And if you've seen my artwork in the past, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I produce the artwork, and then according to as I want to use it, I add elements, add text, add backgrounds, whatever it is I want to do. I can use my own artwork in just about any setting. And I do offer some of my artwork as decoupage paper over on Zazzle. I'm going to leave a link in the comments, and y'all can, or in the description box actually. And if you see, I think I only have one thing offered right now in my Zazzle store, but I can fix that. I can change that if y'all would like to use some of my artwork to decoupage your projects with. You just let me know. I did sell a ton of it when I first started my channel. Last year, I offered, I think it's this one that I'm doing right now. It is that one that I'm doing right now. So it's Mama and Baby, and I used this artwork as decoupage paper and offered it for sale on Zazzle, and y'all helped me sell a couple hundred units of that right when I first started YouTube. So I appreciate that. I would also appreciate if you're liking my channel, if you like what you see, if you want to see more projects, more DIYs, more upcycles, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all the things. And what I've done here is I want to use these as marketing bags. Obviously I want my information to go home with them, so I just scanned my business card. It was just as simple as that. This was the lazy way out. I didn't feel like sitting at my computer and doing a whole layout of text or whatever, so I just scanned my business card, and now I'm ironing it onto a separate panel, and I'm going to glue that onto the bag as well. I use Fabri-Tac to glue these panels onto the bags. Fabri-Tac is a fabulous glue for things like this. It glues paper, light embellishments, just about anything you can think of. When I glue my fabric panels onto this bag, I am putting a board inside of the bag so that the glue doesn't seep to the inside of the bag and stick the insides together. So these bags are canvas. They're not they're not like the most bougie bags in the world. They're pretty utilitarian, but I'm still pretty excited about them. I just think they're really great. I seriously wanted to do a cartwheel when I saw them, because I've been pricing bags like this. I've been looking. Every time I go to the bins, I look for things just like this. Now here I am adding my logo. I'm about to do some rebranding for my business, just some slight rebranding, and I'm going to change what my cards look like and just some different things. Because when we first started our business, the Barnyard Boutique, crafting in Carrollville was not in the plans or in the offing at all. So this was just an add-on and something I decided to try. So glad I did. I've met so many great people. We've met great people at our shows. We have repeat customers. We have vendor friends that we absolutely adore. We have a great time at our shows. We have one this weekend. It's at a small farm in Fort Myers, Florida. It's about an hour south of us. I know a couple of my friends are going to be there. I know Terry will be there. My friend Carolyn might be there. If y'all are watching, I hope y'all are there. You want to use your iron on the hottest setting when you use this paper. Like I said, it's not about how hard you press, it's about how long you keep the heat on the paper. And then before you peel the backing up, you want to let it cool down. But I love the way that this paper transfers the images onto that fabric. It's so much better than drop cloth. I love drop cloth, and it looks great on drop cloth, but this is more of a cottony muslin fabric. It's not canvas. I was really thrilled when I found this fabric too. I'm telling you, I find the best things at my bins. What's y'all's like best thing you ever found at the bins? I would love to know. And another thing I want to know is if y'all want to go to the bins with me, y'all need to let me know. So here's all the bags I made that day. I still have, several hundred more to go. That's something that I can keep in my workshop, in my inventory, and just make them as I need them. But there's Daisy. There's Bessie. There's my old truck. That's Bovine. Now, he is by far my bestseller. Buy me cows and tell me I'm pretty. I made several of some. Now, the farm we're going to actually owns that truck, so that'll be interesting. I always sell a bunch of that truck when I'm at that farm because that truck lives on that farm. Now we've got our final project in this video. I also bought these notebooks when I picked up those canvas bags. They were from the same company that offers all of their promotional stuff at the bins for some reason. I bought dozens of these as well, and I thought that they would make a great sketch pad for kids that come in my booth, or a junk journal, whatever people want to use them for. I know this is a different offering, but you got to get creative when you're trying to put your artwork on absolutely everything you can. That's just what we do. And people, I think, will buy these. We talk to artists all the time, young artists that I'm always encouraging them to draw and to keep doing what they're doing. So if I meet a really nice kid that's very polite, I will give them one of these. And I always love to have things like that I can give away to a very polite kid and look, I got something on my journal there, but don't worry, it comes off. I get it off. I keep working at it, and eventually it comes off. So don't let that bother you. It's okay. Now I'm using the same Fabri-Tac glue that I used on my bags to adhere this fabric to my book. I think I bought this material at the bins as well. I'd be hard pressed to find something in my workshop that didn't come from the bins. I'm just trimming those edges so that when I fold them up, there's not a lot of bulk. And also, I don't want to trim them in a way that will cause them to fray, cause an edge to stick out, and cause any fraying. And I'm just cutting there on the inside of near the spiral there, just down to the spiral. If you're going to do a project like this, do yourself a favor and get fabric scissors. Don't ever try to use your workshop scissors on fabric. It's not going to go well. This is like covering an old school book. I don't know if y'all ever had to do that, cover your school books with brown bags. But when you do this, you want to leave enough room so that your book opens and closes and doesn't bend the covers when you open and close. So leave a little flexible space there. You can see I'm just notching those corners so that when I fold them up, there's not a lot of bulk. Because we are also going to line the inside covers with fabric. That's why I didn't turn those edges over. I just left them that way because they're going to be covered as well. I'm going to use the same fabric that I used on my bags to make an inside covering for the front and the back. And best practice, I should have ironed this. I didn't. At this point, it's late in my world. I'm tired. I want to go to bed, but I'm up crafting and trying to get a video up because we have a show and I'm not going to be here to do a video. Hey, guess what? So I'm going to try to go live at our video, not on YouTube, but over on Facebook. At our show. I'm going to try to go live. So head over to Facebook and follow me there at the Barnyard Boutique. I'll put the link in the description box. If y'all would do that, I would really appreciate it. I need some support on that page. We have lots of followers, but I would like to really beef that up a little bit, and also make a new page over on Facebook for Crafting in Carrollville. Anyway, so I think I'm going to go live on Facebook. I also am going to put up a video on YouTube, and I'm going to show you how I display these, how they fit into my inventory, and how they fit into my setup. Because I'm not quite sure yet. I have ideas, but I'm not quite sure how I'm going to display them. Again, I'm using that Fabri-Tac glue to stick that down. I like the glue because it doesn't smell foul at all, but man, it's expensive. So I've just made a couple of these at this point. I haven't taken time to make any more than a couple, but I will. I'm using them my same method. I'm just going to iron on those images. I print as many images on the paper as I can because I'm going to come back and make more, and I do not want to waste my paper. It's pretty expensive. Of course, I'm going to keep those frayed edges, but I do want to trim them up because you don't want to iron your image onto those strings. And I did take the time to iron these swatches of fabric, but I did not iron the fabric in the books. Because listen, they're closed now and they're going to press themselves. That's what's going to happen. Right? Notice how nice and clean my iron is. You know why? Because it's the only thing I use it for. Like, I don't iron clothes. Like, I just don't. I live in Florida. I don't know if you know this, but we don't iron in Florida. Oh, there we go. It wasn't quite stuck. Now it is. I love the way these things transfer though onto that fabric. I am going to have to make some more of these. I just think this is a great little offering for people who come into our booth to admire my artwork. I think this is just a great thing to offer them, is their own sketch pad, because I'm always encouraging people to find their inner artist and create artwork. I don't know how many conversations we have at every show about artists and artwork and kids and how kids love to draw. And anyway, it makes me super happy to talk about artwork. I could talk about it all day apparently, or at least for 29 minutes and 35 seconds. Alright, I don't know if I've shown you this before. It's my goat. His name is Tom Brady because he's the goat. Listen, I don't name the animals around here. My husband does. So whatever they are, they are. I just go along with it. I had made those swatches of fabric a little too wide, so I'm just trimming them down a little bit and then fraying the edges again and then gluing them to a notebook. That's just simple as that. I feel like I could make a lot of these in a short amount of time, and I feel like that's what I'm going to do. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. We'll be back next week. I'll let you know how things go at our show. I'll put up a video. I'm going to show you how I display these things. I'll let you know if any of the DIYs that we've worked on in the last few weeks sell at my show, because that would be a great, wonderful thing. So I think some of them will. Anyway, so y'all let me know what you thought of this video. Leave a comment. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. All those things are just going to help us grow more and more and more. I appreciate y'all so much, and we'll see you next time. Stick around to the very end to see how everything turned out. Bye-bye.